Merriam-Webster defines the classification missing in action to an entity or entities that are, quote, absent, captured, or killed. In 1987, nearly 3.5 decades ago, an emerging voice in the creative sector decreed to a nation and an industry that the project of colonization had not stopped with the taking of land, the end of Jim and Jane Crow, or the political changes of the civil rights movements, but that indeed it was our very creativity that had been colonized. Through a consistent retelling of history, industry, and the arts from a white male voice. And yet, despite this framework, this emerging creative voice declared that Black designers were, as a result of the colonizing of the mind, missing in action, absent, captured, and silenced in the creative sector. This emerging voice was that of Reverend Dr. Cheryl D. Miller, who we honor tonight and whose legendary work of decolonizing the design industry has shaped a new generation of talent and voices, and indeed the graphic design industry as a whole. 3 years before this profound article was published, after receiving a graduate degree in communications design from the Pratt Institute, Reverend Miller had opened one of the first Black, female-owned design firms in New York City. Applause. Centering the creative vision of Black artists and artists of color, and decentering the white gaze from its place of power in the New York design world. In the decades before, she received her education at both the Rhode Island School of Design and the Maryland Institute College of Art, where she earned her BFA, followed by a Master's of Divinity from the Union Theological Seminary in the city of New York, where she attained the title Reverend, a title I personally know that she holds close to her heart. Through her lecturing, teaching, theosocial writings, mentorship, and philanthropy, not to mention visual work and design and graphic design, she further moves forward the needle of progress, shaping and holding space for honest creativity from the margins and a truthful retelling of the lies that have shaped the American hegemonic imagination. She also continues the work of making Black creativity accessible through the formation of an open source database called the History of Black Graphic Design in North America at Stanford University Libraries and the Herb Lebellin Study Center for Design and Topography at Cooper Union. Reverend Dr. Miller's personal work and archives are curated and held in the Cheryl D. Miller Collection, also hosted by Stanford University Libraries. Recently, Professional Design Associates have also recognized her with the 2021 AIGA Medal for Expanding Access and the 2021 Cooper Hewitt Smithsonian Institution National Design Awardee as Design Visionary. Since its inception, Dr. Miller is the first person, the first woman, and the first Black design honoree to receive both of these prestigious awards in the same year. To conclude her powerful article from her early years, Reverend Dr. Miller summoned the words of activist Hugh Price, the former president of the Urban League and revered client, who stated that Black creatives who, and I quote, rise to the top, enrich the whole of American people, end of quote. I stand here tonight to assure you, Dr. Miller, that you have surely succeeded in enriching the whole. We honor you and we thank you for for your passion, your work, and your belief in your own imagination.
Hi, this is Cheryl D. Miller, and I'm so happy to be able to be here to share my story with you. I'm the primary designer and president of then Cheryl D. Miller Design New York, Inc., and I guess I was regarded then as well as the social impact corporate communications firm of the mid-'80s. Our clients were Fortune 500 corporations who were interested in introducing multicultural, multi-ethnic, multiracial iconography into its corporate communication collateral. In addition, I'm also known as a trade writer, and my articles are primary sources for the industry's beginning discussions of design equality and inclusion discussions in the graphic design industry. The frustration and experience during the civil rights era getting admissions into art school, that's the first place where I became challenged as a young teen from Washington, D.C., wanting to study art. So I entered into Micah's graphic design program and was totally inspired because of a unique perspective I had had as a child. And I lecture about it now, where it's just fascinating that my scholarship and my work now, I'm able to connect the dots of my design story. And one of the things that I do is I use the practices of critical race theory, revisionist historical tools to allow new and other voices to occupy center stage. I've been helping in doing this because I had no one as a designer. But uniquely, as a writer, I have had incredible support. And my lifelong academic coach, Dr. Leslie King Hammer.
The thing that I can say about meeting Cheryl Miller is that the Cheryl Miller today is the Cheryl Miller I met many decades ago. If you don't have records of written history, then history tends to believe that it didn't happen, it wasn't worthy, it wasn't important, it wasn't significant. We have so many artists of color, so many designers, so many painters and sculptors and makers and tinkerers who have not been recorded in history. So I see Cheryl as one of the heroes, one of the GOATs, the greatest of all time in her profession, doing this work that no one asked her to do, but she saw the need, did not ask for permission, and went straight ahead to start to get the work done, showing everyone how it should be done. Cheryl, see my gray hair? Half of it is due to you. But I am so proud, and I champion everything that you do and will continue to do. Every award you get is so well earned and so well deserved. Bravo.
I had a variety of freelancers that did a variety of things in the firm, but I had 2 designers that were staffed. And I have to give them honor. Danita Albert and Treya Price.
Cheryl Miller, then and still now, is an advocate for African American designers to really have that opportunity to pass on, the knowledge and just give people an opportunity to design.
I feel that she gave me a kind of confidence. I really truly arrived at her office curious if I was a designer, and I left certain that it was my path.
Here is a woman, a Black woman in the 80s, succeeding at her business in New York City. There's got to be stories there that can uplift, can show new perspectives that maybe aren't in our archives. She came up with this great idea, the Black Graphic Design History Collection Initiative, so that young students and researchers can understand what it was like to be a Black artist, a person of color, working in the field. Cheryl, I am deeply humbled by the breadth and depth of your work. You have a long track record of making sure younger generations of artists are included and uplifted and supported, and the evidence of this is clear. I appreciate you You wear golden. Congratulations.
You know, I'm very proud that so many designers that I've been able, if they're not in the business today, it's because they don't want it. But the ones that came through my life, they are somebody's. And they have a genealogy. They are of themselves, their heart, their vision, and oh, by the way, they came through Cheryl Miller Design.
I am honored to induct Cheryl D. Miller into the One Club Creative Hall of Fame.
Thank you so much. It says, please adjust your microphone to your height. And this is a first stepping up to speak to you. I want to, first of all, thank each and every one of you for gathering here today for this great occasion and to share your time and your resource and your love with all of us. Good evening again to the One Club for Creative Hall of Fame. CEO Kevin Swanville, Board of Directors, the Hall of Fame members, and to the One Show team of producers. I thank you so much and cherish this award, an opportunity to share a few words with you. I appreciate and am exceedingly grateful for my husband, family, friends, clients, and colleagues who share this moment with me. Once again, I thank you for embracing my legacy into our lives. Earlier this week, with excitement, I posted the One Club event promo JPEG on Facebook. I posted my reflection with the upload. I was just a kid wanting to draw and paint. What in the world did I see that inspired me to not only desire, but achieve a measure of success at a white man's job and career during the civil rights era? What was I thinking, even dreaming? Advertising and design, really? The Mad Men series wasn't even on Netflix yet. As honorary design scholar for IBM 2021, I was asked to write a Medium magazine article for the Racial Equity in Design Initiative. Mrs. Miller, really, tell us the truth. We want your grit, the truth. I submitted the article, Power, Privilege, Purpose. I wrote about my IBM Keynote experience for their Global Design Conference 2021. Upon my concluding words, Phil Gilbert, then the IBM General Manager, wanted me to answer a few questions from the audience. What are some of the reasons that you found for the underrepresentation of Black designers, and what are some of the solutions that IBM and companies like IBM can try? The painful truth and answer to his question is that decades of fear and systemic racist strategies found its way into employment practices which gave little to no access to mid-century era Black designers, especially in Chicago and New York. The murder of Martin Luther King Jr. and the close of the civil rights era was a pivotal marker. The needle for design equality, equity, and inclusion began to move in 1968. There were influential, prominent white male advertising and design practitioners who stepped up to the plate and became allies. They assumed responsibility to be better than their forefathers and to correct history. Communication Arts CA Magazine was one of the first to tackle this issue of white men taking responsibility for correcting a problem created by their ancestors. Boldly, publisher Richard Cohen proclaims his allyship and empathy for the then Negro needing to find a seat at the industry's table of successes and accomplishments. He writes, "There is cause for deep concern, for we have a very exclusive fraternity. The racial imbalance in advertising is second only to the segregated social clubs." Coyne contends unapologetically, as he writes in Communication Arts, April-May 1968. Coyne points to his advocacy. "It's easy to say someone should do something about this. Someone who? It's our field. We didn't deliberately set out to keep it lily white. We are the ones who should do something about it, you and me." Coyne contends the solution is in the hands of the fraternity. Then, on October 23rd, 1969, the New York Times reported a charge made by Barton A. Cummings, chair of the American Association of Advertising Agencies and chairman of Compton Advertising, in an article titled, "Wider Use of Black Talent Urged." Barton was displeased of the Negro's situation in business and thusly charged his audience, "For the future of the black man/woman in advertising is in two sets of hands, yours and hers. His drive, her effort, his striving can be encouraged by you or discouraged. You can help or you can hinder. You can confront the situation or avoid it. You can build bridges or you can build walls. I offer Barton's charge to us today. You can help or hinder. You can build bridges or build walls. The table of our collective community is well set for those of every station of life to sit and partake. May the actions of my heart for a fair, just, and equitable space so that every kid like I was who just wants to draw and paint can transcend the era of closed doors that were sealed to my full access. May today's hearts, minds, and doors be open to those who knock for entrance. Rihanna speaks of a very special woman in an online quote a few days ago. There's something so special about a woman who dominates in a man's world. It takes a certain grace, strength, intelligence, fearlessness, and the nerve to take no, never take no for an answer. I hope I'm that woman. I've offered grace to countless. And strength when there was none. I've given wisdom even not knowing my own way. I've offered courage in the midst of fear. Never have I been afraid to knock, seek, ask for the door of this industry to open, and when asked, "Mrs. Miller, do you ever say no?" My reply, no. I always say yes. I always say yes. Join me in always saying yes to every creative spirit that dares to enter into this family of ingenuity and wonder. Just say yes. And to those who desire this livelihood, live and thrive, and don't take no for an answer. God bless you. God keep you. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate it so much.